and I'm here with this week's Sketch to Scrapbook page. And this week I'm starting with a rough sketch here with two 4x6 portrait photos and a big kind of label shape for the title. And then most of the paper and elements are going to be on one side with the photos and the title, and then just a tiny little bit over to the side to add the date and or maybe a word sticker or something like that. So this is the sketch that I'm starting from, and I have two photos that have quite a lot of pink and green in them, and I'm going to go with a gray, pink, and yellow color scheme. So I've pulled out letter stickers in pink, yellow, and gray, the smaller ones by Sassafras and the two larger from American Crafts. And I'm going to work on a gray cardstock background. And then I've just pulled out some various bits and pieces that fit that color scheme. So there's some pink from My Little Shoebox, and this yellow and pink plaid from American Crafts Peachy Keen. This one is also American Crafts, and it's yellow with a bit of kind of an orange dot. Some yellow hearts from Sassafras. This gray, kind of gray and black pattern by Crate, and then the black and cream chevron, and this is a fabric paper with the adhesive back, and that's in the Amy Tangerine from American Crafts collection. Then I also have something that I tried today, and that's this. The people that run Echo Park have a new die cutting website called iDieCut, and it has all different shapes from a few different things, but most notably all the different Echo Park collections. And you can shop by collection, and then if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette or different things like that where you can cut from your computer, you can pick different shapes and cut them out. So they are offering one that's free right now to give it a try. So I downloaded that one, and it's this label shape with a border, and then the die cut says Inspire in the middle, but I just cut the border and I didn't cut the lettering. So I cut it with a double-sided pattern paper so that I can use the two pieces together with just one cut through the machine, and I'm going to use that as the base of my title. So that's a free die cut download that you can try now if you have a digital die cutter. Otherwise you can use any sort of label shape or trace one or anything like that. They have lots of other shapes too, and I've downloaded the Polaroid camera from the Playground collection because I really like that in the paper, and I love the design, but it has lots of pieces where this one is just two cuts. The other one must be about 20 or something, and it's just going to take me a little bit more time to kind of wrap my head around how to put it together. So maybe another time I'll show you that one. But here we go. Oh, and I'll link on the blog post, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you pop over to the blog, I'll have a link to the die cutting website so you can grab that shape for free. Okay, so here's my sketch, and I know that this is what I'm going to use for the title. And I have my two pictures, so I'm going to go ahead and start with a mat that will go around the two pictures. So I'm just going to look through the papers that I pulled to see which one will be big enough to do that. And this one will be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and adhere these straight to the yellow paper, just leaving a little bit of a border. So this could have even been a solid paper because I'm covering up most of the pattern. But if you're new to watching my videos, I try to use a lot of my leftover papers so that I don't have a lot of I don't want to use just part of a paper and then end up with lots of waste. So I try to start, when I pick a color scheme, I start from my basket of scrap papers and try and make it work from there. So I'm just trimming this down a little bit. And then because I'm working with the gray background today, I think instead of brown ink, I'm going to use black ink. So I'm just using the Black Soot Distress ink and the ink applicator tool. Every week I get some questions about the ink applicator tool, so if you've heard this answer before, forgive me, but basically you can apply the ink directly from the ink pad to the paper. Of course you can. I, however, make a big mess of it when I do that. And for a long time I thought this ink applicator tool was a bit of a silly nothing thing that you didn't really need. And then I used one at a demo once when it was on the table, and suddenly my hands weren't a mess. I didn't have dropped ink pad marks on the paper. I didn't have big splotches. So actually I think this is a great tool, and I use it now for all my inking around the edges. So that's just personal preference, but I do really think that it's a useful tool. Okay, carrying on then. So next piece is I need something that's going to be this large pattern paper behind here. Now it would be nice and easy if I had a piece that just perfectly was about 6 by 12 or something, but I don't. So what I'm going to use is this piece, but I'm going to crop it down, and basically you're not going to see what's behind here, so I'm just going to cut 2 smaller boxes rather than one gigantic box, because I don't have that much of this pattern left. So let's see what I can salvage from this kind of odd shaped piece of pattern paper. Okay, so I started by just cutting it down to more of a rectangle instead of an odd shaped piece. And then I'm going to start up here at the top. I want this to be narrower than the photos. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of mark where I want to cut this. And I just mark it with my nail. Can use a pencil. I suppose that would be far more aesthetically pleasing. So I want it to be about this wide. And so then what I'm going to do is just mark where this edge will definitely be behind the photo. And then I have this much room to put at the bottom. Oops. Okay. So what looks like a 12-inch piece, I'm really just using these 2 smaller boxes. But because the photos are going to cover up everything behind there, it should be just fine. So I'm going to ink, and one of the long sides won't matter because it'll be behind the photo. I'm just inking the other 3. And then go ahead and attach those. Just line it up with the paper itself, with the cardstock background, with the inked edge at the edge of the paper. And then to make sure that these are straight, I'm just grabbing another piece that was cut straight, line it up, and then I know it will be in the right place so that it will look like it is all one piece of paper and not 2 boxes. So now no one's going to know except all of you, because you've now seen the little secret there. I'm going to be using this label here, and I have what was left of this paper, so I'm going to punch the border strips to go along the side in that same pattern to make that match. And for that I'm going to use a Fisker's border punch. This is the Upper Crest border punch by Fisker's, and it's not very new, it's been out a few years, but it is one that I use very often. It's not too girly, but it's not necessarily masculine either. It's just a nice neutral classic shape. And it matches this sort of scroll of the label for the title, so that's why I chose it today. And I'm just going to cut those into 2 straight borders. So now I have one for each side. So these are going to go along here. And then what I'd like to do is I don't want it to be overly gray, and I don't want it to be completely gray and yellow because of the pink that's in the photos. So I'm going to add a little bit of pink pattern paper. I'm just going to cut 2 very narrow straight lines that will give it a little splash of the hot pink in between the yellow and the gray. So once those are layered up, it will give a little bit more color into that expanse there, so it's not too gray. And I'm just going to add some black ink to all 4 of those border pieces and then adhere them to the background. Okay, so I've added the border strips and I've attached the photo block to the background, and then I've gone ahead and added the label. And the label, you can do it quite straight, and you can line it up so that the points on the label are in line with the points on the photo. But because I've put this quite off to the center, or off from the center, it doesn't quite line up. If I put the label straight here with the photos have to go right to the edge, and it's just not quite balanced. So instead, I've decided that I'll just play with the angle, because I'm going to add some loose polka dot elements here and carry them up to here. So I'm just going to place it a little bit skew-if on purpose, and add my title here and some journaling here. So I'm going to go ahead and add the title with all the letter stickers first. So I've just mixed the letter stickers and the different colors and different sizes, and I think I'll possibly add a little bit of a white pen border around this label, but I'm not completely sure just yet, so I'm going to leave it for a moment. And in case this title doesn't make any sense, for those of you outside the UK, Hindu is kind of our name for kind of a combination of both a bachelorette night and a bridal shower. So these photos are from during the day when she had kind of a tea party, and we made cards and various other little crafty bits. So that's the title explained, I hope. Now, to do the little polka dots in this sketch this time, I'm going to use the fabric paper, and I'm just going to punch different sizes of circle, or maybe all the same size circle. I think probably at least 2 sizes. And I'm going to punch straight through the adhesive, and then I'm going to layer the polka dots on. I'm using the Bind It All for this, and I'm just possibly better this way around. And the Bind It All has 2 sizes of hole punch. So I'll just punch both sizes, just a handful of each to start, and then see how many more I need. So basically I'm making confetti. Now you can use ink, paint, anything else for those little dots, or you could replace them, and they don't have to be circles, they could be butterflies, stars, anything like that, or they could be gems, pearls, little buttons, just the idea of something that will have a bit of movement. So, and I can just take the backing off and stick it straight to the layout. It is perhaps a little more effort than splashing ink on the page, but I like the difference in the texture, and this is something that a few of you have done to your layouts when I've put polka dots on the sketches so far, so I wanted to give it a try. Okay, so I've added the fabric paper dots, and I just added a little bit of the same pattern paper from here over to this corner for the sketch. But I decided what I would really like is to bring in just a little bit more color to the confetti here. So I'm going to use a little bit of yellow acrylic paint, and that's just the paint dabber. I've taken the top off, and it's Lemon Drops Jenny Bolin for Ranger, but just want some yellow acrylic paint. And I'm just going to use a dry paintbrush, and I'm going to cover up the photos So I don't really mind if the paint goes a little bit in the wrong direction, but I don't want it on the pictures. And then I will just flick a bit of yellow paint in the same area. Now it's making quite fine dots, so I'm not sure how much is going to show up on the video, but there is definitely some color showing up on the gray there. And then for some bigger dots, I just use the end of the paintbrush with a tiny little bit of paint, and I normally test it. I'm just adding a few of these larger dots. Sometimes that just helps if you've got really fine dots. It helps to add a few that are larger so that it's obvious that it was on purpose. It doesn't look like, oh, I accidentally just kind of got a little bit of yellow mist on my page from some other project I was working on. So the larger dots kind of just make that a little bit more purposeful. So there's my finished dots. Then the last little bit for me to add will be the journaling is going to go in this space here, and I'm going to add the date on this box up at the top. Here's the finished page with the journaling and the date added, and then I just added a little bit of black ink to shade the edge of the cardstock. If you stop by the blog, there is a place to add a link to a page that you create from the same sketch, and I'll be back next week with a new sketch and a new page. So thanks for watching.